You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And good morning. Can you believe it? It's Friday already, and we're just a few days to Christmas. This year has zoomed by fast, even though we were locked up. Listen, I have to talk to you about something because it's weighing heavy on my shoulders. Okay, you know, I did a podcast the other day about the ethics of words, okay, and how we say things and what we say and everything else. It's the ethics of it all, and how words can do damage and how they can uplift and how they can destroy. Well, so this is what happened, about November, I would say, November of this year. Everybody began to start jumping over from Facebook and Twitter over to Parler and MeWe or whatever other program that you went into, other venue you went into, I mean. So I did the same thing. I eliminated my Facebook account, I eliminated my Twitter account, and I jumped over to Parler and I jumped over to MeWe. So I did basically what everybody else did. But I want to tell you is that we have, you know, we love our freedom of speech, right? And that's why we all jumped over there. We got tired of being censored and everything else. But I must tell you that jumping over to Parler, I'm finding exactly the same problem in Parler that I found in Twitter, and that is people basically said nonsense. I caught a broadcaster from Fox News on Parler this morning, and she said Judge Roberts was overheard talking to another judge saying that he will never allow President Trump to become president. Well, of course, she cited no source, who said it, where the information came from, and it was something that was said that was not verified. In fact, even people in the thread down below said this hasn't been verified. And I even put out the question that I said I don't believe this. Well, then somebody came back and said, well, this attorney that's working on the male attorney, I forget what his name is. Anyway, he said it, and he has a tape. Well, let me tell you, that attorney has said so many things, and nothing has come truth about it. I mean, nothing's come about from anything that he's done. Everything that he's done, nothing's been accomplished. And so when you look at it, you begin to wonder, are we falling right back into the same trap that we were over into Twitter, where things were just being spouted out there and not verified? And this is what has happened over the course of the internet, when people begin to do blogs and vlogs, but blogs mostly, that they were just spouting stuff but not verifying anything. So people took it as truth, and then they went for it, and then it spread, and it went all over, went viral, as they call it. But nothing about it was ever truthful. So if you really believe in the freedom of speech, you also have to believe in the responsibility of what you're saying. It's unethical just to spout something without having any backup to prove what you're spouting. It just isn't. And the problem that I see in it is that it's happening more and more and more. And I see it happening a lot on Parler now, because there's so many people that have joined over, and now they feel as though that they can say anything that they want to say, even if it's not true, even if it's not verified, even if it's just nonsense. I mean, there are individuals on Parler who are, you know, spouting their guns, and they're spouting that they're members of this militia, and they're ready to go, Mr. President, we're ready to go. Well, to me, that is becoming a dangerous situation. If you are willing if you're willing to spread something based on nothing, basically based on nothing, but you want to spout your hate, you want to spout your beliefs, you want to spout your theories, but you have nothing to back it up with, so you just spout it. I do not believe that freedom of speech, and I love freedom of speech, and I will protect freedom of speech. I will protect your right to say and say anything. But I'm not going to protect you from you saying stupid stuff. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that if you really believe in freedom of speech, we also have to challenge speech. And that means if you see something that isn't right, challenge that speech. You have that right. That's what democracy is all about, is to challenge what a politician has said, what a business person has said, even a normal individual like myself. You challenge what is being said if you feel that it's wrong. I mean, you don't challenge it in a hateful way. You ask the question, what is your source for that? What is your proof for that? Who said it? Who were they saying it to? In other words, do you due diligence? So if you see something in this new free speech mentality that we have on a lot of these other left or right social media outlets, challenge it. Because if it doesn't feel kosher to you, if it doesn't feel legitimate to you, challenge what is being said. I see it all. I see it so much. I see it on Twitter, and I saw it, and I'm seeing it now on Parler. But on Parler, of course, you have got the right to, excuse me, the right to the far right. I mean, really far right. So you and I, we have really got to become ethical in our social media, because if you want to stir up trouble, social media is probably the best place for you to do it, because there's no monitoring of really what's being said or what's being published. We had this problem, and I started this way back in the beginning of the Obama administration. All this stuff was being said from the left and from the right, and they were literally, people on Facebook and Twitter were using these quotes from these bloggers, and bloggers are not the individuals that you want to take truth from. Because the issue, and I'm a blogger, and I'll tell you that right now, you had better substantiate or verify what I've been saying. And hopefully I've done a good enough job that I can show you exactly where I'm getting my data. But most of my stuff is on business and taxes and stuff, so they're coming from tax code books and everything else. So it's very easy to show. But if you're talking about political spouting, that's what it is now, political spouting, you have to verify what you're going to put out there, but bloggers don't have to do that. There's no check. There's no check on what they're doing or anything. They just spout it, and then pretty soon people take it and run with it, and then it becomes the fact. And then later on we find out, it was a bunch of malarkey, bunch of baloney, as my dad would say. As I would tell him something, and he would say, "That's a bunch of baloney." Well, I'm telling you right now, a lot of the stuff that you're putting out there on the social media networks is a bunch of baloney. Be more respectful of yourself. Be more respectful of the people who are reading what you're saying, and make sure that you have verified what you have put onto the internet, because it's going to come back to bite you. It always does. When you put nonsense out there, nonsense comes back to bite you. And pretty soon, you think you're all this popular person, and all of a sudden you become the enemy of the people. It's a sad situation, but that's what happens a lot of times. So listen, people, we talked about the ethics of words and how very important it is for us to use the right words in dealing with people, in circumstances, and everything else. But there's also the ethics of words that we use within our social media. And if we're not taking responsibility for what we're saying and we're just spouting out nonsense, or the way that you want other people to believe, so you put out what you believe because you're hoping other people are going to believe like you do. But what you put out there was a bunch of nonsense. We have to be very careful about this because it can go way to one side where it's very difficult to bring people back to a normalcy of literally telling the truth or literally saying words that are truthful, literally saying words that are backed up with support. And if you can't do that, don't say anything at all because you're just going to look like a fool. And as I'm looking at Parler, I'm seeing a lot of fools out there. I'm seeing a lot of fools. On MeWe, I don't see it as much. I very seldom do. People are there on business and everything else, and it's a really nice atmosphere that they have on MeWe. But Parler needs to be more concerned about, and the individual members, and I speak to myself too because I'm a member there too, that we have to be very careful about what we say, what we're trying to say, and the documentation to back up what we are saying. You just can't say, well, Judge Roberts is told another justice that he was never going to allow President Trump to be president. You just can't say that. If you have no backup, if you cannot quote a source, don't say it. If you don't have a source that's willing to use his name or her name, don't say it. So, the point is, this morning, is that in our social media, and if you have a belief, state your belief, but make sure that if you are trying to show a fact, make sure you have backup to support that. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm going to come and challenge you. And I'm going to challenge you on what you're stating. Because we have to be factual so that the rest of the people on Parler and Twitter and all these other social networks, that they know that you're a legitimate source that they can go to for a fact. Now, the problem is that mainstream media has strayed from their code of ethics on reporting, their fact-checking on what they're saying. Instead of what they're doing now is that they each have a political agenda. If you are in mainstream media, you feel as though that you have this ability to push your own political agenda instead of reporting the news. And if you look at the Society of Journalism, in their code of ethics, it very specifically says that is not ethical. In their code of ethics, spouting your own political views and trying to report a story is unethical. And all of you guys out there in the mainstream media, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and all the other XYZ stations out there are doing the exact same thing. You're just now spouting. You're not doing any fact-checking of your own work. You're fact-checking everybody else, but you're not doing it of your own work. Because you want to push your own political agenda. That is not news. That is just a political agenda of somebody that's just a normal old blogger that doesn't even check their own sources. So we all, if we're going to be on social media, we have got to be ethical, okay? Ethical in what we write, ethical in what we're trying to get across to people, ethical in pushing a political agenda. You can push a political agenda, but you got to be ethical about it. You just can't be spouting out stuff because it's not truth. Spouting is not truth. Unless you can tell me, I am telling you this today based upon this set of facts. Blah, da, 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 and you list those set of facts. If you can't do that, don't publish it because that's going to come back to bite you because you just strewed nonsense. You spouted out something that wasn't truth. Or there was half-truths in it. So we have a lot of people now that feel as though that they can give commentary on what's going on in this world, on the election, on issues with Iran and everything else. But you have to be very careful about who you're following and who you're listening to, because some of them is just full of crap, okay? They're so into themselves that they think that their word is gospel without providing you with any proof of what they're trying to tell you. You have to be very careful about that. I tell you, the ethics of words and the ethics in social media is very, very important because we've gone way too far. I don't even know which direction we've gone, to tell you the truth. I think we've gone downward because no one in social media is checking what they're doing or even thinking about what they're saying. Mainstream media certainly isn't doing it. There's no more news out there. There's no more ethics in journalism. There's no more reporting that's going on, real reporting. So what we're all getting is a bunch of mush. We get it from social media, we get it from the news, we get it from the internet, we get it from all these different sources. It's just coming at us in a whole bunch of different directions, but it's just mush because no one is verifying what they're saying and no one is challenging what other people are saying. That is the biggest problem that we have in this nation now, is that we are just sitting here taking it, but we're not giving it back. We're not challenging what is being said or what is being done, especially by politicians. If you don't challenge, you're not going to get to the truth. You're just not going to get there. So I like people who I see challenging politicians or writers, journalists, bloggers. Challenge them and make sure the truth is out there so that you and I have something to rely on. Right now, we have nothing to rely on. No matter who you think is popular and who you think is good, it's all just a bunch of mush until we begin to practice etiquette and ethics in what we write on a personal basis. What we write, what we respond with, what we challenge with. We have to take responsibility ethically of what we're doing. So if you're out there spouting stupid stuff, check your ethics. If you're out there just making up quotes without having any backup, check your ethics. If you are repeating what other people are saying that you have no verification of what they've said, check your ethics. Because we are at the point where we have no good data. We have no good information coming from anywhere. That's just a simple fact. So it's up to us, you and I. What we do in our podcasts, what we do in our blogs and vlogs and everything else that we're doing, we have to be responsible and ethical in what we publish out there. I think you'll agree with that. I'm hoping that you'll agree with it because I need more people out there challenging what's being said. Because we've got to get to the truth. But if we're just going to follow the leader and follow people who are saying all this stuff, hoping that they're going to be true, we're stupid. You and I are stupid if we're going to do that. Do your due diligence on what's being said. Practice and hold yourself in check with your own ethics. And let's really focus on the words and the content that we are putting out there on social media, and let's be ethical. Listen, this is Mike Lodge. If you want to go to my website, know what I do for my day job, go to www.lodge.co.com. If you want to send me a message, if you have a question or a comment, send it to my text, which is 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. And it gets to me right to my computer, and I'll respond to you right then. I try to get to every single one, good or bad. I answer them all. If you want to look at what's going on in social media, on Parler, on Twitter, on all these other things, look at it, read them, but challenge it. Because a lot of it there just is not true, or it's over-exaggerated. Challenge it. and challenge yourself on what you're writing and what you're saying. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Everybody go out and have a good Friday. It's a beautiful day out. Here it's going to be about 65 degrees today in Palm Beach. I'm looking out my window. I see a few clouds and some sunshine coming through the trees. So I think it's going to be a good day. I'm getting happy because we're getting close to Christmas. I love Christmas. I love the act of giving. Listen, if you have a soup or a can of corn or whatever you have extra sitting in your pantry, put it in a bag and get it to a food bank, because I'm telling you, these food banks are running dry. They need your help. And there are a lot of people out there who have not had a job for a very long time who rely on these food banks. So please, help a food bank or help somebody that you know. Maybe you know a small business person that isn't really surviving. Go to his shop. Do some business there. If he needs some food, take him some food. But we need to, at Christmas time, we need to begin to think about how can I touch someone else's life through Christmas. And it's all about giving. And it's about giving with love and with your heart. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye. This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content. If you would like to donate and help us with the funding of these podcasts and vlogs and blogs that we do, go to buymeacoffee.com and look for Michael Lodge, Lodge. Love your help. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye.